Is it working now? Hello, hello, hello. Can you guys just tell me if it's working already? I have done something with my setup. I hope it's working now. Can you guys hear me? No sound? It's working! Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Fuxia, for confirming it. Yay! Whew! The first, most difficult move has been done in today's show, getting the sound right. I was saying at the beginning why you could not hear me that I had to move my whole studio to a new place, so everything is messed up, and therefore the audio was also messed up. I hope that now it's already working, so we shall begin our Banter Blitz session today. I hope that you're having a great day. That's what I also mentioned at the beginning. Let's go for the first few challenges. Remember that I would love to play games with increment because I want to be as instructive as possible, but for that I need time. I need time to explain. You can hear us. Okay, hear us, hear me. Ooh, I'm talking about myself in plural. Already have split personality issues. Okay, I just seen some comments that you could not hear me before. No, I'm reading everyone's comment, Kramnik student. I'm saying hi to all of you. But of course, I always love to see fellow ladies in the audience. So I shall go for the first game without further ado. Increment, please. I'm going to abort my game with Claudia, my favorite opponent. And now we shall go for a few challenges with some increment, please. I'm going to see some new names, hopefully. Also, if you're a premium member, that always receives priority, of course. Now, what is random? Is it the color, or am I going to play some kind of a chess variant again? I'm already suspicious about the challenges that you guys send me, because the other day I played a game where I could not castle, and I didn't know it. Okay, I think this is Erno. I think... Oh, I'm trying to click. No, I did not click. I'm trying to accept as many changes as possible, but now it disappeared. Sorry, Erno, it disappeared. I'm going to accept another challenge. I'll go back to you afterward. I don't know what happened to your challenge. It just disappeared suddenly. So, I'm playing against Calculate Well. Woo, that is a scary name already. And this is the English opening, as you can see. I like to play with e5 and knight f6 d5, but there are many setups against the English. Arno, if you challenge me for the next one, I'm going to accept your challenge. I don't know what happened. I was about to click on your name and then it didn't work. It wasn't on purpose. So this is a very typical setup. I'm going to play bishop to e7, castle kingside, bishop to e6, pawn to f6. I'm trying to keep my central pawn on e5 as defended as possible. What usually plays on the queen side now, he is going to push b4, not immediately because I'm still controlling it. Well, no, wrong. I was going to say I'm controlling the b4 square, but also the e5 pawn is vulnerable. So if I take on b4 now with the knight, he can capture my e5 pawn with his knight. If I take on b4 with the bishop, then let's calculate. Bishop takes b4, knight takes e5. If I take the knight, he takes my bishop. If I take on c3 after knight takes e5, he's gonna take on c6 and threaten my queen. So that's not a good trade for me. Therefore, in this moment, I'm simply going to play, I believe, can I just play f6? Queen b3 check, is that annoying? I'm gonna play it anyway. Actually, I don't remember theory in this position. I know with d3, a3, the more solid approaches. Rook b1 at an early stage and b4 immediately, I'm not aware of, but I'm pretty sure it exists. Why would it not exist, right? So I'm hopping onto the d4 square. After a trade, I'm going to take back with the pawn on d4. My b7 pawn is protected. That would be the only danger, that he takes on d4 and later this g2 bishop suddenly is alive and very dangerous. So this g2 bishop, I believe, is white's best piece in all these positions, the fianchetto bishop. If I'll be visiting London during the World Championship match or the London Chess Classic, very likely yes. I don't know if both, but I think for the World Championship match, I shall be in London for a few days at least, because I love London. I used to live in London, And now that the World Championship will be there, I think I'm definitely going to be visiting. Shall I take on f3, or is there any other move that comes to mind, like bishop f5 to threaten his rook, but then I'm gonna give up 2 minor pieces for the rook. Bishop f5 takes on d4, e takes d4, threatening his knight. What is that position? I'm looking at weird stuff like that, but perhaps it's just overcomplicating things. I'm gonna take on f3. If bishop takes, queen takes, both are possible. Bishop takes, I can play bishop f5, threatening his rook. I would love to place a piece on the d3 square, preferably my bishop and not the queen, because the queen can be chased away. Queen takes f3 prevents my bishop f5 move, unfortunately for me, but that's not the end of the world. Shall I play queen d3 now? Even though I said that I would love to have a piece there, it's still annoying if I place something on d3, because that's a hole in white's position. So next move could be bishop f5. And yeah, the b7 pawn will be hanging, but perhaps I should not care. And look, now after queen e4, it makes a lot of sense to place the bishop on f5. I'm protecting my queen, attacking his queen, and I'm offering him the b7 pawn because I don't think that's such an important pawn in this position. It's more important that I have this beautiful centralized queen. I've just developed my bishop too, connecting my rooks, and this b1 rook shall be hanging at some point. Queen takes b7. I don't have an exact refutation of that move, so I think it's possible to take on b7, but I'm hoping that I have enough compensation for the pawn. Yes, so he's taking, and I shall prove that I have compensation. I can take on f1 and take the other rook as well, but then I'm gonna give up a queen and the bishop for 2 rooks. I don't like that. Other moves that come to mind, bringing the rooks, but also the c7 pawn is hanging. Maybe I shall care about that. Shall I care? Shall I care? I could move. I'm gonna move the queen. That protects the pawn and attacks his rook. That's why I like it. I'm opening up the diagonal of my f5 bishop. And his rook doesn't have very many squares. He can go back to a1. Ooh. b2. b3. Yeah, those 3 squares. I don't think that's any good for white. Or he can play e4, but that weakens the d4 square forever. That's gonna be an outpost for one of my pieces. Hopefully a knight, but the b6 knight's gonna take ages until it gets to d4. Still, pawns can go backwards, so if he pushes e4, I know it's obvious that pawns cannot go backwards, but it's important to remember, because that would have been a not very pleasant situation for him. I'm gonna attack this rook, and then I'm gonna play bishop to d3 once he plays rook b2, attacking my bishop on c2. So, what is that move? I mean, I can take it. Did he think that I would lose my queen? Knight takes d5, and now after the trade of queens on d5, I can take the rook on b3. Knight takes d5, that's the only move. Okay, now I understand. He wants to take on e7 if I take on b3. What is that position? I don't think this is any good for him. Oh, rook c3 is his threat. I understand it, finally. Okay, this is tricky. This is very tricky and I don't have much time. If bishop d6, rook c3, and he wants to win my bishop. Is that any good for him? Okay, I'm gonna take this. What? Why is he doing that? Now I can do... I thought he would take on e7 with a check. Now I'm an exchange up and I have defended the bishop on e7. I don't understand, calculate well, why you did not take on e7 first with a check. I thought that was the idea. We're gonna have a look at that after the game, but I don't have time to look at moves at the moment with 15 seconds on the clock. Threatening his knight, if he takes on e7, I'm gonna be happy trading this piece because this is his best piece, the knight on d5. Also, I feel like his queen is very weirdly placed on b7. I don't think I can win it, but certainly it is not so pleasant for him that it was hanging in many positions. What shall I do? This is a very ugly move, but I feel like I should be a little passive before I can attack. So I'm an exchange up, but I need to first make sure that everything is protected. Now I could have taken on b3. I didn't realize. Now I'm gonna take on b3 because I love free pawns. The bishop is hanging and we trade, but that's good for me because the trade is good in general. He can give a check, so maybe I should have played rook d8 first, but I didn't. Because I don't have much time, neither my opponent. If we trade rooks, I'm gonna be very happy. If we don't trade, I'm gonna take a pawn. Take some c7, I can take here. Oh, mate in 1, it was mate in 1 with rook e7. My opponent didn't realize it was mate in 1. Goodness me. It's mate in 1. I missed mate in 1 with an exchange up. It was a completely winning position and I missed it. Goodness me. Oof. Now I need to... First, I need to calm down, and second, I need to win this game because it's still not completely winning. Now it's gonna be winning, but oh my god, it was mate in 1. It was mate in 1, calculate well. I could have lost the game immediately, and I'm threatening mate in 1 with h5 check, and it's mate in 1. Goodness me. We're gonna have a look at the game. We're gonna have a look at the game. Because, oh my god. Okay, what happened? What happened is that I think it's been a good game. I think it's been an exciting game. Calculate Well, you did a great job. Now, wait a second, I'm going to mute this so that... Thank you for the game, Calculate Well. I'll just see your message in the chat. The opening, we're just gonna quickly go through these moves because I want to show you the middle game. It started to go really exciting here. I love my queen on d3 and I gave up the b7 pawn for compensation. I think I have more than enough compensation because first of all, this d3 square is a hole in white's camp. I have good control of the light squares because of this pawn structure. Secondly, his rook is very unpleasantly placed on b1. He either has to go back to a1 or play rook b2 or rook b3. Maybe rook b3 was the best option, and after bishop c2, he got very tricky. Bishop d5 check, I need to take this. And after knight takes d5, I thought that his idea was bishop takes b3, knight takes e7 check. It's a check. So I would have played king f7 to attack the knight. And now when he takes back on b3, he's attacking my queen, so I don't have time to take the knight. He's got 2 minor pieces for the rook. I don't think this is clear at all unless I can win the knight, but I don't see a way for winning the knight because he can come back, for instance, to c6 or even to d5. So I think you could have taken on e7 with a check and then take the bishop, so you have 2 minor pieces for the rook. That's why I thought that suddenly this bishop d5 check was more dangerous than I expected, because I can't play the very calm bishop d6. I mean, I can, nobody stops me from doing that. It's legal. But after rook c3, I felt like it was a little unpleasant that both my queen and the bishop are hanging. I can still defend it. I can play queen e4 or queen a4. But I just couldn't evaluate this position with such a short time on the clock. I don't know who is doing well here. It's all looking so weird. The c2 bishop is weird now. Can he take on c2, on c7? Will he get into trouble because of his queen on b7, or will it be a very good piece on b7? There's just so many questions about this very complex position. I couldn't decide who's doing good here, because who is doing very well depends on the tempo. If I could play next move, maybe bishop e4, and I'm more than okay. Perhaps after rook c3, I can try queen e4 to actually pin this knight, but he can play f3 and attack my queen. So I have no idea. It's a mess. Anyway, another critical moment came later. So I'm playing with an exchange up. Everything is fine. Black is winning. I played this rook c8, which is a passive move, but what I told you guys, sometimes when you are material up, you should first make sure that everything is protected, even if those moves are ugly and passive. First, you just keep everything under control and then you improve your position. So here I start to improve my other rook and I just keep collecting pawns. King f7, king e6, just activating the king, offering a trade of rooks, and here, it's mate in one, Der Henker, in the position you're saying, sorry, I'm gonna come back to the mate in one. Queen e4 was not going to, sorry, you meant here. Bishop d6, rook c3. Queen e4, I'm not losing my queen because it's protected. It's protected by the bishop, so there's no knight takes f6 discovered attack because the queen is protected on e4. So that was a question in the chat. Now, going back to the mate in 1 position. Mate in 1! I played rook takes b5, rook takes b5, and rook e7 is mate in 1. Calculate well, you missed mate in 1. I'm so sorry. I was lucky. In this moment, I got lucky. Overall, I think I had winning chances most of the time from the middle game to the end. But here, for one move, I was dead lost. Rook e7 mate in 1. Goodness me. I should play anything but rook takes b5. For instance, rook d7. Just coming back simply. I can take on b5 later. But I forgot about my king. I was just looking at the pawns. Don't be so greedy. And once he didn't give mate, everything is under control again. It is still some kind of an endgame where you need to have good technique to convert it. So I'm an exchange up, but everything is one-sided. We have 4 pawns on the king side. It still takes some effort to win this, but by improving your rooks, creating threats. So I'm going to d1, then I can play rook h1, or I can play rook c4, attacking the e4 pawn. Sooner or later, White's pawns will start falling, or his king will get into trouble. So this is just a technical endgame. After f3, rook h1 wins immediately. If he doesn't play f3, I'm gonna provoke him, push f3 by attacking the pawn, rook c4. Maybe with some very passive defense, rook a4, protecting the pawn and defending the 4th rank. He could put up some kind of resistance, because now rook h1 is not a big deal. I'm not threatening anything. I cannot attack the e4 pawn immediately, but on the long run, this has to be lost. So it's gonna take effort from black to win this, and in a blitz game, anything can happen. I can blunder a rook or mate, but in general, this endgame should be winning. Simply, it takes time, and you have to be very patient in these kind of endgames. After f3, it was lost immediately for white. Rook h1, and I'm gonna take on h2. Thank you so much for the game. Calculate well. The mate in 1 was the biggest blunder from my side, and then also from your side for not giving mate in 1. Let's go for the next game, because I would like to play as many games as possible against you guys. Challenge me with increment, please. Now look for players that I haven't seen yet. Erno, I told you that I would accept your challenge, so I'm living up to my word. I'm accepting your challenge now. Erno, the ice bear. Wait a second. What have I done? What are we playing? What is this, Fisher random? No, I'm looking at the board from the other side. What is this? I'm playing with the black pieces, but I see it from your side. Give me a second, I need to flip the board. What on earth is happening with the board? I mean, does anyone understand? What is this? What are we playing, Erno? I couldn't even make a pawn move. What is this? Okay, guys, next time, if you want to play a chess variant, please let me know in the chat that we are playing a chess variant. I don't know what is this game. Can I just promote? What is this game? So is it like normal chess, but my pawns and his pawns, well, we are about to promote all the pawns. So if queen takes b1, I can play a takes b1 and queen again. I have no idea what this chess is. What chess variant is this? I don't know what's this. I don't know what this chess variant is, guys. So all my pawns are moving toward the 1st rank. Then how I'm going to develop my pieces? I can only move the knight, as far as I understand. Yeah, I need to look at the coordinate. I see that. So I'm going to promote with g1, next move. So, okay, I flipped the board in the wrong moment. Actually, it was correct. That's why I was very surprised why I'm looking at the board wrong, from the wrong side. But actually, it's the right side. I'm going toward the 1st rank. I'm gonna queen again. He's gonna queen with g8. This is such a weird chess variant. I cannot take the queen because then he's gonna promote again. So how I'm going to develop my pieces? I was going to play queen b3 queen g3 because I thought my pawns are going that direction, but no, it's the opposite direction. I can play queen to g2, at least it's protected, and then play rook g1 and promote another pawn, h1. What is the name of this chess variant? Goodness me, what am I doing today? Next time, please let me know what I'm playing. At least I would like to know the name of it. I just accepted a random challenge. I have no idea what is this called. If anyone knows the name, please tell me in the chat. Because I have no idea what we are playing at the moment. What is this chess? I guess it's all about promoting pawns. h8 queen, h1 queen. It's already the third queen to promote. Another queen. I don't know, I'm not gonna abort the game. Just because I've fallen into this, I'm not gonna abort it. Next time I will go for a traditional challenge. Now c1 queen, oh my god, my opponent has already 4 queens. I'm only having 3. I need more queens. I'm gonna take here, let's trade one of those. Then I'm gonna move the bishop. Because I wanna promote 2. Well, I can promote this one. Yeah, why not? Okay, 3 queens versus 3 queens. I don't know how to be instructive with my comments because I'm not understanding the position. So this is what happens in chess. Yes, we have chess skills, but it's all based on pattern recognition. Everything we know is related to positions we have seen, positions we have studied. I have never seen a position where I can promote all my pawns mainly. Like any pawn I could promote once I get rid of the back rank pieces. Bishop takes e2. What is the point? I can just take it with any of my queens. I don't see the point. I'm gonna take it with this queen so I can promote next with d1. I don't understand bishop takes e2. I don't know. Queen to a5. Is he threatening anything? If I promote, he wants to take on f6. Still, I mean, I will have loads of queens. I think I can do that. Can't I just play this? Let's do this. I'm giving him my knight because after queen takes f6, I'm gonna play. Well, not f6. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the squares as if it was normal. Queen takes c3 check. I'm gonna play bishop to d2, and I have 4 queens on the board. Why my opponent only has 3? Well, he can promote with d8, so maybe after all it was not so good. But I'm also threatening to promote once again. I'm gonna have 5 queens now. Yeah, I hope that the objective is to give mate. Yeah, guys, you're right, because I don't even know what is the objective of this game. Kramnik student, that's a good point. I believe it could be to give mate. Let's hope. Not only promotion, because promotion, yeah, we can promote as many queens as we want, but apart from that, I think it's about giving mate. It should be the same goal as in traditional chess. So next move, I want to promote c1 queen, and he's gonna play d8 queen after he has moved the queen away from c3. My king is lacking support because I have promoted all the pawns around my king, and he has taken on e2. So actually I forgot, yeah, he sacrificed the piece to take on e2, and now he has captured on f6. I keep saying f6 because normally it would be f6. On c3. Okay, trading queens. I'm gonna take this. So we are equal material except for the fact that I have an extra queen. And I'm about to promote 2 queens. I can promote c1 and a1. I started to like this game. I'm starting to like it, guys, because I'm gonna have loads of queens. Yeah, another queen. Another queen. Giovanni's, I agree with your comment that they are not pawns, they are princesses. Yeah, so many queens on the board. Just turning them into queens. We trade here. Okay, next move he's gonna play d8 queen. So how shall I take back on c1 what could be the best? Perhaps with the rook seems to be the most natural. So once he plays d8 queen, at least I'm pinning on the c file. I can promote a1 queen. I don't see anything wrong with that move. Also tempting to do something about the pin. I can play knight e5. So shall I play knight e5 or promote first? Will he do anything about my promotion? I don't think he can prevent my promotion. So let's be brave and promote one move later. Shall I be brave? Let's hope it's gonna work out. I think that this pin, I mean, in normal chess, this pin on the c file should be winning. But now that I'm still looking at these pawns, I'm like, what? Once he moves the rook away from a8, sorry, he can promote his a pawn. So I'm gonna promote with a1 next move, or I take on f3 first. I'm threatening to take on f3 with the bishop. It's almost mate. And he would lose one of his queens. So this has to be a winning position, even if it's a weird chess. I still don't know what is it called, guys. I still don't know what's the name of this game. Does anyone know? Does anyone know what is the name of this? Okay, my initial idea was to take here. I hope that I'm right. Ooh, no! Can he... I'm looking at knight d6 later. Knight d3. I'm sorry, I keep saying the squares incorrectly. How should I take first here? I'm gonna take this first. If knight d3, I can take with the queen. Okay, I have another queen on f1. No panic. Don't panic, Anna. There's another queen on f1. It's very hidden. It's looking so weird, but I have another queen. So I can promote now, or I can take on e5 first. Is there a rush promoting or not? He can promote with a8, but I have a bishop on g2 protecting that square. And apology that I keep on saying the squares incorrectly, but I'm just looking at the board and I feel like it's the opposite way. I feel like it's flipped. So queen takes e5. That looks like a very reasonable move. Or I can promote a1. I'm gonna take here. Once again, let's be brave. Let's say that there's no rush promoting my pawn. I hope I'm right. I'm threatening queen takes f6. There's a pin on the e file. And I'm threatening to promote another queen, a1. He can't do the same because once he promotes his queen, I'm gonna take it with the bishop. So I'm controlling his promotion square. He's not controlling my one. I don't know if the name has been said in the chat. Yeah, I should watch out for my time. You guys are right. Okay, rook h5. I could even take it if I wanted. But I feel like I want to keep all my queens. Maybe it's too greedy to keep all the queens on the board. I mean, I can take on h5 twice. Or I can take once and then promote. Or I just move my queen. But if I move my queen, where do I move it? So weird. I think I'm gonna take once. Let's sacrifice one of my queens, because I feel like I have many, so I can spare one. Now I can take the knight, or I can promote. I think promoting is better, because it's an extra queen again. So I have 3 queens versus 1. This has to be completely winning. Attacking my queen, but I can just take this unless there's something that I don't see, but I think this is all right. Threatening to take on d2, so I have to protect that, but I have so many queens that I can do, for instance, this move, offering a trade of queens. I should have pre-moved, but I didn't. Let's give a check here. It's gonna be mate next move. So I hope that the objective of this game is mate. But Erno has resigned, so we will not know. I believe the objective was giving mate, even though it was weird. Erno, tell us in the chat what is the name of this game, because I don't even know what I have just played. I don't know what I have played, but it was cool. Actually, I enjoyed it. I'm afraid it hasn't been very instructive. So apologies if you are watching this on YouTube and you thought it was a waste of time. I didn't know. I didn't know that I'm accepting a challenge for such a weird game. It didn't say in the challenge. So yeah, this was a fun game, but I'm gonna go back to traditional chess now. Please challenge me for traditional chess. Please. With increment and traditional chess. That's what I'm hoping. Okay, Beagle, I've accepted your challenge. I look at the position, it looks normal, so I'm gonna play the French defense. I hope I can castle and such. And it's nothing weird, hopefully. The Tarrasch, I like to play with bishop e7 against the Tarrasch, although the other lines are also alright. Now e5, c5, queen g4 is the main move here. No, he's not going for that, so I'm just gonna play normal. I can take, or I can play knight c6 first. Rigged chess, is that the name? It was certainly rigged, but I don't know if that's the name of it. Don't know how it's called. I have no idea how it is called. Knight to f3 from d2. Interesting. I thought queen g4 is usually the point of the early e5 variation to attack the g7 pawn as soon as possible. It's so weird to play traditional chess now, after having played this weird promotion chess. But I gotta deal with it. I gotta play this. Okay, one way of playing in French defense type of positions, whether French defense or just the structure, is knight to h6 and knight to f5. And usually you shouldn't worry about bishop takes h6 because yes, it doubles your pawns, but it's not so threatening as if you have already castled. I haven't castled yet, kingside, which is important. Knight to f5, this is a normal square for the knight. Once again, white can double my pawns. In so many of these positions, he can give up one bishop and double my pawns, but the light squared bishop of white is the important bishop. So normally it's not a good idea to give it up. I'm gonna take here once and then play queen to b6. Still he can take on f5 if he wants. I'm not threatening the pawn yet. This is a trick in the French defense for white, from white's side. He can castle. I cannot take on d4 because once I take, imagine I take everything. Knight takes, knight takes, knight takes, knight takes, queen takes. At the very end of the variation, I'm gonna have a queen on d4 and he can give a check on b5, bishop b5 check, threatening my queen from d1. I would lose a queen. That is a trick that you should not fall into. So I play bishop d7. I'm threatening now to take the pawn. Also, if I have castled, it would have been the same trick. Bishop takes h7 check in those positions. Everything that's a check with that light squared bishop usually wins the queen, so the d4 pawn is untouchable. So the name is actually Princess Chess. Haven't heard of it before. Bishop b1 protecting the d4 pawn. I can castle, or I can bring a rook to c8. I think I'll bring my rook first, although I can also consider castling queenside. There are a couple of options here. You know what? Let's make it interesting. I'm gonna play with h5 and castle queenside. I don't know if it's the best, but certainly it looks the most exciting. Not that there's a huge attack. It's not so easy to create a pawn storm, and he's about to push b4, so he knows what I'm doing. And therefore, I'm gonna deviate from my original plan, and I'm playing knight a5, going for that b3 square, or if he pushes b4, I'm gonna jump to c4 with my knight. I can still castle queenside, I'm just improving my knight first. So after a3, these light squares are my target. Knight b3 I'm gonna play if he does not stop me with b4. I like the position, though it's nothing special, of course. b4, knight c4, just a very nice outpost for the knight. What would I play here as white? Maybe bishop a2, that's a bit passive to defend the b3 square. It's Beagle's turn and we are getting even. Oh, he played bishop a2, so I guessed his idea at least. Can't jump to b3, but still after b4 I can play knight c4, so probably I shall not care. I can play bishop b5 if I want to, or castle. What happens after castling? I can castle still both flanks. Castle queenside. b4, knight c4, queen c2, pinning that knight. I move away, he wins a pawn. But even if I lose that pawn, I think my position is still good. So I'm gonna castle queenside. I'm gonna be brave. I'm calculating b4, knight c4, queen c2, threatening to capture on c4. And I think in that position, if I just play king to b8, stepping out of the c file, he can take on c4 twice, but I have a lot of compensation for the pawn. So he didn't do it. He's playing bishop to d2. I'm gonna move my king away. Whenever you castle queenside, you usually end up making one king move, because the king is safer on b8 or b1. And I want to occupy the c file with my rook. Rook c8, next move, or knight c4. The b2 pawn sometimes could be hanging, but let's remember that my king is on b8, so I should be very careful capturing that pawn. Not now, of course, the knight on a5 would have been hanging, so it was out of the question. But in some positions it could have been something to at least consider. If I take on a3, bishop takes d5, discovered attack. I don't like opening the a file. I'm not gonna do that. If queen a4, bishop b3. So he's got some attack. I'm gonna just place the... do I wanna actually? Hope that my queen won't get trapped, actually. It's not so simple. Queen b5 I thought was natural, but I didn't like knight c3. I don't have much time, so let's control the light squares as much as possible. Oh, the knight on e2 was hanging. I could have taken a free piece. Now he can defend it with queen b2. Oh, shoot. It was hanging in one move. I was too focused on my queen and the queen side. I did not realize that it was hanging. And now it's just an endgame, which is nothing special. Maybe I'm even worse. I'll try not to be worse, but oh my. Okay, the knight is still hanging, but I think he has realized already that I can take on e2. Goodness me. That was hanging. Used to be hanging, not anymore. Now it's just an endgame that I need to win somehow. Okay, now this is a free piece. I don't know why my opponent is giving me free stuff. So second time that he blunders, and this time I'm capturing it. So yeah, that was a blunder. We're gonna have a look at the game afterwards, but simply a free knight, giving up a free piece is not something that is useful for you. It's good for the opponent. Thank you, Beagle, for the game. I think you played well, but you missed that your knight was hanging. We can have a brief look at the opening, French defense and such. As I was telling you guys, normally this e5 variation is about playing queen g4 very, very early, just so that you're threatening the g7 pawn, and in this case black has to play either king f8 to protect the pawn, but that means I can't castle anymore, or I need to play bishop to f8 to protect the pawn. This means it's a retreating move. I have an undeveloped bishop. If you look at black's pieces, it looks like I have never even touched a piece. I have only been moving my pawns. At least that's the impression. I have moved my bishop twice and is back on f8. So in this variation I can still castle. That's the pro side of this position. But I have lost 2 tempo moving the bishop back and forth. So yeah, I think I still like better the bishop f8 variations, but it's just a personal preference. Queen g4 is the most critical, I believe. Just forcing black do something immediately with the g7 pawn. Since you didn't play it, I think it's very comfortable for black, the knight on f5. I was telling you guys that it happens in these type of positions that black is offering for white to double his pawns on h6. So this is an interesting position. It all depends on the tempi and such. Like immediately, if white wants, he can attack the h6 pawn. But usually black is not losing it. One way of not losing it would be to play bishop g5. So suddenly this h6 pawn is useful. And it's okay to actually go for this in terms of general plans, because black hasn't castled yet. So my king is not on g8. It's not It's not a weakened king side because the king hasn't decided to be on the king side yet. You can still castle queen side. Therefore, it's not a problem if white decides to capture the knight. And later, once it lands on f5, the same thing. White can take the knight, but in the French defense with white, usually you want to keep your light square bishop. That's your best piece. The light square bishop on d3. That is so important. It's usually the piece that will give you a winning mating attack. If you can attack, that's gonna be one of your attacking pieces for sure. So trading it is not that recommendable. Nothing happens, this is still an equal position, but just by doubling on the f file and weakening the d5 pawn, you don't reach much, you don't achieve much, because black will place his bishop on e6, he can protect the f5 pawn if he wants with g6, and this is just a perfectly fine position for black. So all these positions are normal. What happened later in the game, as I was telling you, that this is a trick. And you should use this trick in other openings as well. If black is greedy and captures a pawn on d4, adios, queen. This is how to lose a queen in 15 moves. No, actually only 12. The same happens if I have castled. So after castle, white can play anything, let's say whatever, a3. Same idea, I can never win the pawn with the king being under attack on a light square. My king is on a light square, bishop takes h7 is a check. I'm losing my queen again. So no, this I cannot play either. Therefore I played, instead of castling, I go bishop d7 and now I'm threatening to take. Remember? Castle, bishop d7. I'm threatening to capture because now once my queen is on d4, there is no check with the d3 bishop. Important. He defends it with bishop b1, but now h5. I think it's a very interesting position. I can castle queenside next move. And h5 is usually important so that the knight from f5 cannot be chased away with g4 ever. g4 is of course a committal move, but sometimes it works, sometimes. a3, knight a5 and such. Let's just go very quickly to the critical moment. Here I wanted to play queen a4, but then bishop b3, it's good for white. If I play queen to b5, then knight c3, I think white is more than okay. My queen is getting into some trouble. So queen a6 should be the best move. And queen b3, the knight on e2. Beagle, that knight on e2. But I didn't take it, so it's all right, right? I didn't take it. I did not see it. I only saw it after I made a move. I was so focused on the queen side, I didn't see the hanging piece. Bad luck, but a couple of moves later. Here I think it's important that I'm going toward the center, because it's gonna be an endgame, so my king is better on d7 than on b8. I can trade queens anytime with queen c6, so there's no reason to be worried about the king. This is already an endgame, with queens on the board, but just minor pieces. He moves the knight away, but knight g5 blunders the other knight. That's it, Beagle, this position is equal. If you don't play knight g5, but for instance, any other move, literally any other move, h3 to protect the back rank, g3, h4 is another idea. Although I'm not sure about placing your pawns on dark squares, I have a dark squared bishop. But anyway, anything, I probably would have traded queens with queen c6 and played at endgame, but this shouldn't be too problematic. I have the pair of bishops, so I would have played for a win. One way of playing for a win would be queen c6, and then I'm trying to bring my queen. I want to play at some point maybe even a5 and take the pawn on a3. So this is unpleasant, but it shouldn't be lost, I think. Or maybe you can try to keep the queen on the board. Not so easy. No, queen d2, queen c2. I think I'm better. I think black is better here because black has got a lot of pressure here on white. Because of the pair of bishops, because of this beautiful knight on f5, the d4 pawn vulnerable. So I would have enjoyed this position, but certainly giving up a free piece doesn't help you save the endgame. Anyway, I think it has been a very exciting game. I shall go for one more game for today. And let's please play traditional chess. Don't challenge me for something weird. Don't challenge me for anything weird, please, 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 please. And with increment, I see some challenges that I would accept because I see you're a new user, or I haven't seen your username yet. I want to accept your challenges, but you need to challenge me with increment, please. I'm not going to accept any game without increment because I want to be explaining my thought process, very detailed thought process, hopefully, explanations in as much detail as possible. So please challenge me with increment. I'm gonna wait for those of you who challenge me without increment. What is random and custom? I feel like random custom, is that a chess variant? I don't want to play a chess variant now. We have already played one. I'm just so afraid of those of you who are challenging me with random custom. Please don't do that. I feel like those challenges are some tricky chess variants. No, we have already seen one chess variant, please. I'm gonna go for something that doesn't say random or custom. I think custom is the tricky word. Custom shouldn't be that. But still, I mean, the challenges I wanted to accept, there are no increments. I'm trying to look for new names. That's what I'm doing right now. Okay, I see one new name. New name. Disappeared. Disappeared. Okay, since the new names disappeared, I'm gonna accept. Okay, Kishan. I think we've played already about a couple of months ago, so I'm gonna repeat. Also, Kramnik Student and Jacko. I wanna play against you guys again as well. So it's not only about the new people, but I'm trying to give some opportunity for those of you who have become premium members recently, or at least I haven't seen you at my shows. I'm gonna play the Rossolimo. Okay, custom is the point. Yeah, thank you guys. So I'm not gonna accept custom challenges. Not today. We have seen already one Princess Chess. I enjoyed it actually, but I don't think that you could learn much from it, so I'm not gonna do it again. This is one of the variations of the Rossolimo. I like castling early in the Rossolimo because once you have developed the bishop, why not castle? And later depends on how black plays. If I play with rook e1 or if I'm gonna go for a c3, d4 setup. Usually, since I have given up my bishop, you try to go for knight maneuvers in general, but this is very general in the Rossolimo, so I'm not teaching you the Rossolimo in 1 second or 10 seconds, whatever I'm trying to do here. So, knight maneuvers, as I mentioned, I can go for a knight maneuver, for instance, with d3, knight d2, rook e1, knight f1, knight g3. That's a knight maneuver. And I'm gonna go for it. There are many other ways in which I could play, but I think this is very comfortable. Should I play rook e1 first? If there's any knight d2, g5, should I be afraid of something weird? I can go perhaps rook e1 first. Seems somewhat more natural. So knight d2, then knight f1, knight g3. This knight maneuver is the same as in the Ruy Lopez or in the Gioco Piano. If you play the Spanish or the Italian, then you're familiar with this idea. Moving the rook to e1 and then the knight to f1, g3. What was the time control in this game? 3 plus 2, I think. Knight g3. He played h6 so that after bishop g6, knight e5, he can place the bishop on h7. Though I think that's fine. I'm gonna have my... What? Kishan? Is that a mouse slip? Did you want to take on f3? I'll have to take your bishop. I'm really sorry, but I'll have to take it. I don't think this is what you wanted. Kishan, I am so sorry. I think that was a mouse slip. I think you wanted to take on f3. Taking on f3 would have been the normal move, or bishop g6. This is just a fine position you can castle kingside. This is still basically theory, just a normal position. So bishop g4, that was really unlucky. There's not much to analyze about this game because it was a mouse slip. Kishan, we're gonna play another game next time. I don't know if next week, but I will definitely accept your challenge in the coming weeks because I think that this was simply a mouse slip and you didn't want to play bishop g4. Yeah, I see now in the chat it was a mouse slip. I'm sorry, it happens. I can't not take the bishop once it's on g4, and I don't think there's an option for me to let you take your move back, because in chess no one can take our moves back. So that's a pity, but it means I can play one more game. It means I can play one more game. And Kishan, challenge me in the coming weeks. I'm gonna accept your challenge later on in the future, because I know this wasn't an intentional move. You have just made a mouse slip. I'm going to accept the challenge of Chespeare because I like your handle. I like Shakespeare. I used to study Shakespeare. I studied English literature and culture as well at the university. I'm waiting for your move, Chespeare, and I'm gonna go for the French defense. Which variation will be? Tarash? I'm betting Tarash. So Tarash is knight d2. No, c4. Whoa! Now this is a sideline I'm not aware of. I'm gonna take the free pawn. And another one, I know it's a gambit. I think I've seen this years ago, but by years I mean at least 10 years ago when I've last looked at this. So that's how rusty my knowledge is on this gambit. Let's try to develop a piece. I feel like I should try to develop instead of capturing on f3. Whoa, I'm playing a gambit I have no idea about. What about bishop b4 here? Queen a4 check, knight c6. d5 he can't play. I feel like bishop b4 should be good. Bishop g5 may be the move for him. What a cool gambit. c4. I'll have to look at it. I'll have to look at it after the game and after my show is over. Because I don't remember. Honestly, sometimes it's very tricky when your opponent plays a gambit that is not common. So there are gambits that are very known, like the Evans gambit. That's quite a popular gambit. And this one, honestly, I haven't seen it for at least a decade, if not longer. So that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time. EC threatening to take, and then queen a4 check, knight c6 d5. Those are my thoughts. If bishop takes, queen a4, knight c6 d5. But he can't do it as long as the c3 knight is hanging. So he's just threatening to take and then to take on e4 as well. I'm still going to question about the bishop. Ask him to take on f6, then I can take back with the queen. And as I mentioned, queen a4, knight c6, that's still okay because d5 I have bishop takes c3. And he couldn't win the pawn on e4 because I had queen h4 check. So if bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, f takes e4, queen h4 check was the way to play. That's why he doesn't take. But now with the bishop on h4, isn't this a bit weird for him? Shall I play g5 or not? Maybe I can wait with that move. I'll play knight c6 first. Because why not develop and attack the d4 pawn? Okay, the d4 pawn is hanging. And I'm already a pawn up, so he shouldn't really give that pawn to me as well. This is one way of protecting it, attacking my bishop. So if I take on c3, he's protecting on d4. Bishop to e7 back, then he can take on e4, but I'm taking on d4. So I think this is a good move. Both pawns are hanging in the center. Defends it with bishop f2, logical. And now my e4 pawn is hanging again. I really don't want to take on f3, but maybe I have to. I have to, and then I have knight g4, so it's not too bad. Actually, in this position, I think I like it, because I can play this move. Although I'm allowing d5, what's gonna happen in that position? Well, d5 I take on f2, and his king is vulnerable, bishop c5 check. Should be good for black. But once again, this is a gambit that I don't remember. I'm just making up the moves. If you don't know what to play, development is always first, as usual. Developing your pieces is usually a great idea. And keeping things safe. Keep your king safe. I'm gonna take on f2 so that his king is not safe. Queen d2, protecting the bishop, so when I take, he's gonna take back with the queen. I can play knight a5, threaten knight b3, but that is just a one move threat, I believe. So taking on f2 and then castling, that looks like sensible. I could wait with taking, but I feel like I would take sooner or later anyway. Okay, castling opposite flanks. Now this is gonna be exciting. can give a check on g5, but do I achieve anything with that? Not sure. Knight a5. I need to start attacking somehow. a5, a4. Let's try that, although maybe it's a bit slow. And d5. d5 looks like a very strong move for white. I didn't prevent d5. d5 I should take. And let's see what happens here. It opens up the diagonal for my bishop, so it's not as bad as it could be. I'm gonna give this check to get away from e7, give some space for my queen. Although, maybe it's not a big deal. King b1, bishop f5 check. I'm developing, but also my bishops are a bit loose. My bishop on f5 is a loose piece. And if queen c8, he can take on g5 and then... No, he's not winning my queen yet. Okay. Ghosts. I'm seeing ghosts. Knight b4 looks like... Ooh, knight b4. Look at that move. He can't take it. Because if he opens up the a5, a takes, that's mate. He can't take with the knight either because his rook on d1 is hanging. Somehow, Sopiko has inspired me to go for this move. Once you see it, it's not so difficult at all because you know that the a file, once it's open, it's mate. And if you realize that the d1 rook is unprotected, then you can take advantage of the pin. I'm threatening knight c2 check mainly. I'm not threatening anything else. Well, c6 I'm threatening if the rook is not protected. And there's no discovered attack. There was no... okay, should be fast. He still can't take, I believe. If he takes, I take knight a2, b3. Okay, this was unexpected. Oh, no. Oh my god, what I'm doing. Now this should be... I'm losing on time, almost. I'm gonna pre-move bishop takes. I don't know if he's gonna take the queen or not. I was thinking if I can still... Yeah, I can still give up the knight because the king on a1 is in trouble. Knight a2, b3. No, b3 I don't have anymore. No, but there should be something. There must be something. I believe I have something. What I don't have is time. Time. I think this position is completely winning for black. I still believe it, even without queens. Yeah, if he takes... Yeah, I can... He takes on b4, I take knight a2, I take on d4, and then b3. And black is winning. I'm threatening to take on d4 and knight c2 check. So this position is completely winning. And I won on time. But before that, I almost flagged. I almost got flagged in the moment after knight d4. So let's have a look at that. Knight d4 was a good move. And that's where I almost lost on time. I'm not going to look at the opening because I'm not aware of this gambit. But the critical moment came here. So d5, I think, is a strong move. But it also opens up the diagonal of my bishop, the c8 bishop. So it has its pros and cons. You are giving me this option. Maybe you should play d5 later. You could try first g4 or h4 so that you are taking squares away from my bishops. And later d5. Because I'm not threatening anything immediately. I wanted to play a4. You have time for h4, g4, threatening sometimes g5. I think this was the way. d5 I was afraid of. I thought it was a strong move. But in hindsight, that could be a mistake. Because you help me more than you help yourself. After this trade, my bishops are alive and kicking. And the knight on d5 is strong, but it's not threatening anything. There's no discovered attack because I can take it with the queen. Knight f6 check. There's not a threat. And knight b4 I think is a winning move. So can't be taken with the pawn because it's mate. And if knight takes, I already mentioned, the rook on d1 is hanging. I'm threatening knight c2 check. So I think you played well, going knight c3, threatening my queen. I played queen f6. I can play knight c2, but no, I can't because you're gonna take it. And well, no, you can't take it. In the end, I'm winning an exchange. So knight c2 check was possible. I could have given that check. Maybe that was the best move. King a2 and then move my queen. But I thought I'm not in a rush. I didn't see that after knight c3, queen f6, you have this very strong move, knight d4. And maybe white is still lost, but I was so shocked by this move because I didn't see it coming. Sometimes it happens, especially in a blitz or bullet game, that a move surprises you so much that you freeze. Here I lost about 10 seconds and I almost flagged. I think I used most of my time here. I didn't know what I was doing. I felt like I was frozen from the shock that I'm blundered. Because suddenly I felt like, okay, the queens are coming off of the board and then he can take my knight. But it's not true. After bishop g6, if he takes, take back, and he still cannot take this knight because knight a2, and I'm gonna play b3 after this capture. b3, and I'm winning. It's mate. Not just winning the piece back, but it's mate on the a file. So the position is still winning. He played takes. Well, no, so sorry, this is what I'm showing you. Was this no, this is not the game. I want to go back to the game. Knight d4, takes. Forgot which one was the game. Oh no, I won on time here. Yeah, I won on time here. But the position is winning. I don't think that white has any way of saving this because I'm threatening bishop takes d4. And then I would win a rook with knight c2. If you move this knight away to somewhere, let's say b5. Maybe I'm not winning immediately because this check would only win material if you step into the diagonal with king b1. You can play king a2. But this just looks so bad. I don't know, moves like rook d8 or c6, or without the check, c6. Perhaps it's not winning immediately. Maybe I was over optimistic, but this position looks just so dangerous for white. And with no time on the clock, I think this is just, should be over. Perhaps I can just play c6 and ask the knight where he wants to go. If he jumps to d6, I might just pin it or give a check and then come to d8. I don't think I have a direct way of winning it. Maybe it's not even winning in terms of evaluation. I don't know the computer evaluation in this position, but certainly in a practical game, in a blitz game, this position has to be extremely bad. Because technically, I mean, in practice, to defend this position with no time on the clock, that's very, very difficult. So in a practical game, I think this is a win. Maybe with the defense of an engine, or if it's a very strong player defending here with time on the clock, chess spear, I think you could also defend this if you had time on the clock. So thank you so much everyone for tuning in today. Apologies that at the beginning there was no sound, and today we also played a very interesting chess variant called Princess Chess. Is that called Princess Chess? I'm not sure, but now I'm gonna call it Princess Chess. I hope you had fun watching today's Banter Blitz. This weekend I'm going to Sweden, so if you are in Sweden, come by. I'm going to be in Stockholm, and it's a very special event, a ladies tournament for Pia Krumling. She is a legendary chess player. She has been at the very top of the women's standings and the top ranking of female players for decades. She has been playing for over 4 decades and she's still very strong. She's a men's grandmaster, the number 1 player in Sweden. She has been the number 1 basically ever since she started playing chess. As a teenager, she was already very strong. So the Swedish Chess Federation is organizing an event for her to present her. This is a gift, as the website says, this is a gift from the Swedish Chess Federation, from the Swedish chess community to Pia Krumling, to honor everything that she has done for Swedish chess. And I think that is a beautiful idea. So the tournament is going to be for Pia. She's playing against 3 friends of hers, and there's also a tournament, an open tournament for women. And since it's a women's weekend, ladies tournament, they wanted a female commentator, and that is me. So tune in here on Chess24. It's going to be broadcast here on Chess24. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, the tournament of Pia Krumling in Sweden. And I'll see you probably next Tuesday, but stay tuned for the announcements here on Chess24. I think it should be Tuesday, but I'll need to see. I need to see if that's going to be my day from September on, because, yeah, we need to fix the schedules for the new season, the new school season, right? Back to school. Hope you had a great day today and have a very nice week. I'll see you guys from Sweden this weekend. Bye bye.